Yo, what's good everyone? It's great to be back on the Mayo Media Network. My name is Griffin Swanson and I'm here to break down the Saturday, February 20th NHL DFS slate with you. Now for those of you who are new to this channel or at least new to this video, here's how I'm going to break it down. For starters, I always list out the highest implied game totals here in the top left-hand corner, as well as the highest implied Vegas odds as well, so you can see the teams that have the best projected odds to win on Saturday. I'm then going to dive into my favorite line stacks, my favorite individual plays, and then wrap up the video with a low-priced sub 4K forward option that I got my eye on. But before we do that, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to the Mayo Media Network. Turn on your notifications. If you're more of a podcast person, check out the content that they got on the Apple Pods as well. And if you're feeling up for it, leave a 5-star review. And of course, I got a couple of prize picks for you for this Saturday slate as well. Now, if you're not familiar with prize picks, you gotta check it out. And if you are new, make sure you use code MMN for a $100 match deposit. It's really easy to play prize picks. Here's how it works. What they're going to do is they're going to list out a handful of players for this Saturday NHL slate. They're then going to assign them to a fantasy score. All you need to do is bet the over or bet the under on that fantasy score. And here's how players can rack up points. They get 3 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist, half a point for a shot on net, half a point for a block shot. It's that simple. Again, all you need to do is bet the over or bet the under on that fantasy score. So the first prize pick I like is going to be Sidney Crosby over 3.6 fantasy points against the New York Islanders. Now this is going to be the 5th time the Penguins have played the Islanders this season. In each of those first 4 games, the Penguins have scored at least 3 goals, and actually they've scored at least 4 goals in 3 of those games. So I know the Islanders tend to play a more defensive structured game, but it seems like the Penguins got their number here this year, and it's Sidney Crosby's 1,000th NHL game on Saturday. So there's going to be a little extra incentive there for him as well. The team knows this. Hell, most of the NHL knows this. They've been promoting it all week. Anytime an NHL player can hit 1,000 games, that's pretty special. So I'm going to fire up Sid here over 3.6 fantasy points. And then the other prize pick that I like is Connor Garland over 3.5 fantasy points against an LA Kings team that is allowing 3 goals per game to start the season, which is the 12th most across the league. Garland here has really just taken his game to the next level this year, has 7 goals, 8 assists, 15 points in his first 16 games, and has 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points over his last 10. So it just goes to show you the consistency that he's played with here to start the 2021 season. And on top of that, he has 35 shots on net over his last 10 games, essentially averaging 3.5 shots on net per game. So all those things combined, I like Garland here against this Kings team at home over 3.5 fantasy points. But all right, let's dive into the spreadsheet here, kicking it off with my favorite line stacks. The first line that I got my eye on is, well, that first line out of Tampa Bay. So we got Brain Point centering Steven Stamkos and Andre Palat. Now, honestly, this is one of my favorite lines to roster, no matter the opponent. They just happen to be playing a Carolina Hurricanes team here that just played on Friday night. This Tampa team's going to be well rested. They haven't played since Monday. So first and foremost, that seems like a recipe for success. And on top of that, this Hurricanes goaltender situation is pretty shaky right now. They got James Reimer as the starter, but both guys that they've been rotating have a save percentage below 900. That's not very good. Now, this first line here is very consistent. They got 29 points here over their last 10 games, essentially averaging 2.9 points per game. They have multiple point upside, like I said, really against anybody. Get big minutes, play on that top power play, and I really like the matchup here against the Hurricanes playing on back-to-back nights. So like I said, seems like a recipe for success, and I think they take advantage of this goaltender situation that the Hurricanes got going on. The next line stack I got my eye on is that first line out of Columbus. We got Jack Roslovic centering Cam Atkinson and Patrick Laine. Now this line's been pretty damn good ever since Torts put them together. You can see over the past 10 games they combined for 16 goals, 15 assists, 31 points, essentially averaging 3.1 points per game. Now they're playing a Nashville team here that's allowing 3.44 goals per game to start the season, the 4th most in the NHL. Now you're going to see Laine and Roslovic play on that first power play, whereas Atkinson plays on the second power play. That's really the one downfall to this line, but honestly, Atkinson's been the most consistent player on this line, maybe the most consistent player on this team as of late, has a goal in 5 straight games, and really just starting to heat up in general, shooting the puck a lot more as well. Now, this is a relatively cheap line stack here, especially considering that these guys are going to play anywhere from 18 to 22 minutes. They're going to get plenty of opportunity against this Nashville team that's allowing the 4th most goals in the NHL. So again, seems like another recipe for success here. I'm going to fire up this first line out of Columbus. All right, now hopping on down here to my favorite individual plays. We're going to kick it off with the forwards there, and how do we not talk about Austin Matthews? This guy is lighting up the NHL to start the 2021 season. The guy has 16 goals in his first 17 games, on top of adding 9 assists or 25 points. He is averaging 20 DraftKings points per game to start the season. He actually got a price decrease from the last game. It's probably due to the matchup here against the Canadiens, but there's no reason that Austin Matthews should be getting a price decrease at any point until he starts to slow down. He is picking apart goaltenders here to start this season. So, like I said, it's hard not to talk about him, considering he has 16 goals in his first 17 games, and he's averaging 20 DraftKings points per game to start the season here. So I'm going to fire him up, plays on that first line, plays on that first power play. You can pair him up with guys like Mitch Marner. You could even do a line stack there, adding Joe Thornton as well. A lot of ways to attack this Toronto team, but again, hard not to mention Austin Matthews' name when talking about the Maple Leafs. The next forward I got here is Sidney Crosby, playing in his 1,000th NHL game on Saturday against the New York Islanders. So that's a huge accomplishment for Sid the Kid. Obviously, he's had a lot of them over the course of his career, over the course of those 1,000 games, but anytime a player can play 1,000 games, that's pretty substantial. So Sid's going to be buzzing, in my opinion, against the Islanders here. I was actually watching some practice highlights today. Don't ask me why. I'm a hockey nut. That's what I do in my free time. But I was watching some of these Penguins highlights, and Sid was buzzing today at practice, and the players were well aware of it. He actually had Kasperi Kapanen mic'd up saying, Sid looks good today. You know, Sid's going to show up every single game, give his best effort, but when there's an extra incentive like this playing in your 1,000 game, you know there's something extra special there. So I like Crosby here. I like Crosby most nights, but against the Islanders here, the Penguins have actually scored at least 3 goals in all 4 games, and in 3 of those games, they've scored 4 goals. So I know the Islanders are a defensive team, but the Penguins seem to have their number, so I'm going to fire up Crosby here at $6,700 in his 1,000th NHL game. And then Ryan O'Reilly here at $5,900 caught my eye as well against the San Jose Sharks, who are allowing the 3rd most goals per game across the league. I really like this Blues team in general against the Sharks, so there's a number of different ways that we can attack this Blues team, but this first line with Ryan O'Reilly and David Perron really stuck out to me. I actually almost highlighted David Perron here, but you get a bit of a price discount with Ryan O'Reilly. You by all means can pair those guys up together, but Ryan O'Reilly here, 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points over his last 10 games, playing very consistent hockey right now. Going to play big minutes for this team, going to play on that first power play as well. He is a defensive centerman, plays very well defensively, as a matter of fact. Been up for the Selke in the past, but good defense does generate good offense, and that's what Ryan O'Reilly does. So like I said, I really like this Blues team in general, but Ryan O'Reilly at his price tag, he could get 2, 3, maybe even 4 times his value at $6,000 here, or $5,900, but no reason to think he can't get there against this Sharks team, allowing the 3rd most goals per game across the league. And then another guy who's playing consistent hockey right now is Johnny Gaudreau. Like him at this price tag here at $5,700. If he was mid-6K range, I'd probably look to start fading it, but this guy has points in 14 of 17 games this year. Technically plays on the second line with Sean Monahan, but you could argue that first line and second line out of Calgary are damn near equal. You're going to see Gaudreau play on that first power play as well. Now, they are playing the Oilers here on back-to-back nights. I mentioned earlier I don't love teams that are playing on back-to-back nights, but that's different when you're playing the same team, right? I mentioned I like Tampa Bay because they're playing a Carolina team here that just played on Friday, whereas Tampa hasn't played since Monday, so they're going to be fresh. That doesn't concern me here with the Oilers and Flames because one team isn't going to be more fresh than the other team. So I like Gaudreau here. They're going to be playing the Oilers backup goaltender as well, so that always piques my interest. But again, Johnny Hockey here has just been very consistent to start the year. He's going to play big minutes. He's going to play on that top power play. And again, just been a consistent hockey player to start the 2021 season. Moving over to the defenseman here. First guy I got my eye on is Tyson Barrie. This guy is playing really well with the Edmonton Oilers here as of late. Has double-digit DraftKings points in 8 of his last 10 games. Has points in 8 of his last 10 games as well. Playing huge minutes. Played 25 minutes on Friday. He has that upside. You know, on back-to-back nights, I don't know if he'll play 25 minutes again, but it's pretty safe to say he's locked in for at least 20 minutes. Going to play on that first power play with guys like Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. Anytime you get to play with those two guys, you're going to get chances to score and get on the score sheet. He's a very offensive defenseman, so you need him to get on the score sheet and shoot the puck to rack up DraftKings points. But as I mentioned, he's been doing that here as of late. Double-digit DraftKings points in 8 of his last 10 games. Barrie's really starting to heat up here with this Oilers team. Next defenseman here, Seth Jones, just taking his game to the next level ever since Zach Werenski went on the IR, and he needed to for this Columbus team. $5,900 here. I'm still going to roster him, though. Has 1 goal, 7 assists, 8 points in his last 10 games. Double-digit DraftKings points in 6 of his last 10 games. He's a very well-rounded defenseman. He can get on the score sheet. He'll shoot the puck, but he'll also block shots as well. So this is a guy that can rack up DraftKings points in a number of different ways. Now, just like Tyson Barrie, you're going to see this guy play at least 20 minutes. He might even be locked into 24 minutes considering Werenski is still out. But again, this guy had to take his game to the next level once Werenski went down, and we've seen him do that. So he's going to play on the top power play, going to play big minutes, and he gets penalty kill time as well. Like I said, can rack up DraftKings points in a number of different ways. Now, considering the first 2 defenseman plays there are a little more expensive, I wanted to give you a cheap option here as well. So if you kind of want to pivot away, pay low for defensemen, Mike Matheson is one guy that sticks out to me here. Now, he's only played 7 games with the Penguins so far this year, has 2 assists, but he's playing much better here over the past couple of games. What I really like about him is he's had at least 3 shots on net in 3 of his last 4 games here. Just watching that game the other night against the Islanders, Matheson actually stuck out to me. He finished that game +4. Now, that's not going to get you DraftKings points, but this guy does have offensive upside. You know, throughout the course of his career, he's kind of struggled with confidence. That's not the player that I saw the other night. He looked much, much more confident, moving the puck very well. The assist that he did have in that game, he actually shot the puck off the boards, went and got the rebound himself, and then shot the puck and made a play. You'll have to go and watch it. It was a rather cool play, to say the least. But again, this is a low-priced option. If you kind of want to pivot away from those more expensive defensemen, you can do that with a guy like Matheson. Should play anywhere from 18 to 21 minutes. He's going to play on that second power play for the Penguins as well. You know, he certainly could kind of fail at this price, but it's more of a punt play here, right? There's a reason he's $3,000, but I do think this is a value play. The way that he played last game and has over the past few, I think he should be priced closer to $4,000. And then my favorite goalie play on this slate here is going to be Andrei Vasilevskiy, and honestly, I was shocked to see that he was below $8,000. There's no reason that he should be. $7,800 here against the Hurricanes. I've already talked about how I like the Tampa Bay Lightning here playing the Hurricanes, who played on Friday night. Tampa's going to be well rested. But Vasilevskiy here is 9-2-1 to start the season. These are the defending Stanley Cup champions, and I know that doesn't mean anything here for 2021, but they're certainly playing like the defending Stanley Cup champions. So why Vasilevskiy is $7,800, I have no idea. He's a freaking stud. You could argue he's playing better this year than he did last year. So I'm going to fire him up here. I don't care who the matchup is. Anytime this guy is below $8,000, he's going to be on my radar. And then the last segment of this video here, that low-priced option or sub 4K foreplay. We're going to roll with Kasperi Kapanen, playing on that first line with Sidney Crosby and Jake Gensel. Now, Kapanen here has been pretty good since coming over to the Penguins. Has 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points in his first 12 games. Just over a half point per game. Actually had an assist on the Crosby goal on Thursday night. He's going to play on the second power play. He also gets penalty kill time as well. well, and he's a very fast skater, so he can get loose, he can get breakaways. But honestly, anytime a forward is below 4K playing with Crosby and Gensel, you're going to catch my eye, and Kapanen did here at $3,500. Not afraid to fire him up with Crosby, with Gensel against this Islanders team. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up the video for today. As always, appreciate you all for taking the time out of your day to watch these videos. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Turn on your notifications to the Mayo Media Network. These guys are posting content Monday through Sunday. Don't miss out on any of that. Hey, let us know in the comments below what line stacks, maybe games in general, or just some individual players that you're targeting for the Saturday slate. But let's have a great day. Let's win some money on Saturday. I'm out of here.